Hey guys, it's that time of year again where we reveal it all.
That's right. We're going to go over our 2024 budget numbers. We did a video that was very popular actually in 2023. We reveal everything. And it's a little uncomfortable, I got to say, but because we put ourselves out there and inevitably we get all these people commenting about how we spend too much money on this and how they're able to live on the road for $300 a month and all that kind of stuff. So why are we doing this? So we know that when we were researching our full-time RVing back in 2022 or 2021, that Darlene especially would spend literally hours going over because you don't know, right? I mean, that's the big thing is you don't know how much this lifestyle is actually going to cost, and that's a really important question to answer.
Yeah.
Before you make this leap into full-time RV living, you got to know what you're getting into. And so we're going to give you at least our perspective from the very best that we can. Of course, you know that everybody's lifestyle is different. Everybody's going to have a different rig, your travel style, all of those things. But we're going to try to do our gut level best to give you at least the truth about our year.
Well, when I did our research into, do we want to do this full-time lifestyle? What's it really cost? It was so hard to find anybody that was willing to share all the numbers. And so we really wanted to make a point to share everything from lodging to insurance to, food to every aspect. Now, obviously it depends on you personally, but I think getting insights into, especially this last year, because a lot of things changed for us from 2023. So you're going to see a different kind of budget. So I hope you're ready. Let's go.
In case you're tuning in for the first time, welcome to Like There's No Tomorrow. We are Barry and Darlene, and in July of 2022, we sold everything and left our Florida home to travel and see this country, taste its food, explore new regions, hike the big hikes, see the epic views, and do it all before retirement. That's right, we are full-time working nomad professionals and do it all and see it all working from our rig. We might not be the typical full-time RVers, but as we've seen in the past 2.5 years, there are more and more couples and families hitting the road and doing the same. That's why we are bearing all and breaking down our costs for you. Life threw us some curveballs in 2024, but we've continued to learn and adjust and hope these insights will help you too.
So how do I track everything to be able to give you really honest numbers? Most people don't track. And I found it really interesting. We had some fun comments last time we did this. I'm just going to say fun comments. And a lot of people who, we at the time that we made our 2023 had 2 professional level incomes. That person's going to spend a whole lot different than someone who is retired, from someone who's on a very strict budget. And you can totally do this lifestyle both ways. So just keep that in mind. This is who we are and how we do things. The 2023 numbers were really high because we were living it up. It was our first year on the road. We wanted to do and see and eat everything, and we did. But this year's a little different. In 2024, we had some pretty serious changes in our life.
Yeah. So 2 major things happened this year, neither one of them good. So you'll see in our numbers that in January, February, we were spending like drunken sailors like we were in 2023. And then it just goes off the cliff and goes way down.
Yeah.
That's because Darlene unexpectedly lost her job.
Yeah.
So she was in a situation where we literally thought that she would be one of the last people they would let go because, because she was doing such important marketing work for the company. Not going to go into all that, but let's just say that it came as a big surprise. Yeah. And we had to make a decision at that point whether or not she was going to pursue getting another job, do freelance work, or work on our YouTube channel. And we chose
the YouTube channel.
Choice number 3.
Yeah.
Probably the biggest, of course, if you've watched our channel, is that Darlene was in a pretty serious accident and she hurt her neck really badly. It could have turned out a lot worse than it did, but that just sent us into kind of a tailspin. Obviously, it was completely unexpected, and it changed our plans in a huge way.
So, but the cool thing is about the full-time lifestyle is that we had the ability to make that change. We could adjust our spending to allow us the, opportunity to see what we could do with the channel. So I didn't have to go back to full-time work. In a sticks and bricks home, you have a mortgage, you have set amounts. You can't always do that kind of thing. So on a positive, it allowed us to do that. So, and by the way, we are 1 year old. Our channel is 1 year old now because we posted our very first videos on I think the last days of December, which would be just over a year. So, I went all in, and you'll see that reflective in our numbers, but we had to make serious cuts. And so you're going to see a lot of that and what that means. So if you're really interested in what kind of lifestyle you want to live, how much you want to spend, I would really suggest you watch the 2023 video as well as this one, because you're going to get both perspectives and see how we were able to cut and still enjoy and still travel and do this thing full time. So let's get into some of these numbers, because I know that's what you're really here for. Obviously, when you travel a lot and fast, you're going to spend more on a lot of things. When you can stay longer at places, your lodging is less. When you're not burning up gas like we were, your gas is a lot less. So you'll see that reflected. And I'm going to off and on throughout this whole video show you my budget spreadsheet. Now, this is something you can get if you go to our website, liketheirsnotomorrow.net. Put it on the screen. I put a QR code for you. You can get your hands on this, because what it does is allow you to put your spending in every month. And so you start to kind of see how much you're really spending, because until you do this kind of stuff, you can judge me all you want on our grocery numbers. But if you're not writing down every single dollar you spend, you really can't, because you don't know. So this allows you to get that snapshot and know your spending. And I think seeing this spreadsheet I'm going to show you on the screen throughout the video will really help you a lot. So you can get your hands on it, liketheirsnotomorrow.net. So lodging. Okay, in 2023, we spent a total of $20,000 on lodging. Now, that was a lot of resorts, a lot of probably higher dollar places than we would ever stay now.
Well, and that was our first year full timing, right?
Yeah.
And
first full year.
Yeah, and we did not have any solar set up on our RV. We were not in a situation where we could essentially go off grid. I mean, we had a crappy old generator.
Yeah.
Let's just say that we were, and then Darlene, since that was our first year, she was booking tons of resorts way in advance. She had the whole year planned out. She had set up a bunch of deposits, all that kind of stuff. And, we didn't know any better.
Yeah.
We had never RV'd before. For those of you who know our story, you know that. But in the second year, we went ahead and invested in some solar, and
yeah, and that changed a lot. So here's the breakdown. In 2023, we stayed at 53 state parks, nights at state parks. So 53. In 2024 was like 88. So we obviously made the change to partial hookups at state parks, and that made a big difference. We only boondocked 41 days in 2023. 2024, I'll say it's straight boondocking 82, so twice as much. In 2023, our regular resorts and campgrounds were 271 days. This last 24 was 132. We cut it in half. So we basically just cut our spending on where we were staying. And we added the Elks. So we became Elks members. That we had 13 nights at Elks in 24, which we're going to have way more than that.
We're actually at an Elks Lodge right now.
Right now. So that was a big one. We did way more Harvest Hosts. We did 13 nights at Harvest Hosts. We were at events for 30 days total. So we did like 3 different events now that did cost us to be at the event, but it was not at a campground. And we had a week where we had no rig because it was in for repairs. So we were out of it. So we had a really different way of spending for our lodging in 2024. So as you're trying to figure out your budget, campgrounds are going to cost a lot more. Resorts are really going to cost a lot more. State parks, boondocking, obviously a lot less. So the big difference, so we went from $20,000 on lodging in 2023 to $9,900 in 24. That is a $10,000 drop in lodging alone. So you can see how weak you can adjust, especially if you're willing to get into boondocking, go off grid, and have zero costs as far as the actual where you're staying cost.
Yeah, and my number one thing when I heard that was that essentially paid for our solar setup.
Yeah.
So we have a pretty expansive solar setup video that you can go watch if you want. If you're curious about that, just search for it. But we spent, I think, with installation, we spent around $15,000.
Yeah.
So it's not completely paid for, considering the installation. If you're handy and you can install the solar yourself, in fact, we have a solar download where you can actually download the spreadsheet that was given to me by a solar consultant. If because when you get into solar, you're lithium batteries and all that stuff, the number one question is like, how many batteries do I need? How many solar panels do I need? All that kind of stuff. I am not.
You're expert on that.
I'm not an expert on it.
What you want to power, for one thing.
Yeah, exactly. So, but just quick numbers. We have 1,550 watts of solar panels on our roof. We have 800 amp hours of lithium batteries. We use Redodo batteries, which are very affordable. Again, we've talked about those a lot on our channel. And so, but that has enabled us. And we got rid of the old Onan generator that we had that was really unreliable and unpredictable. And we got a new portable Cummins generator that we really like.
Yeah.
It's worked out really well. And that just enables us to, the bottom line, it allows us to boondock. Now, we do not stay in places where we need air conditioning.
Yeah.
Air conditioning. That's a huge piece of it. You're totally able to do that out west very easily. It gets a little bit more challenging in the east, just because of the humidity and all that. But with all that said, it was really cool to hear that, $10,000 essentially paid for at least all of the stuff, all of the batteries, all the Victron gear, all the cables, all the stuff that we needed for solar, minus the install. So.
Yeah. So in the end, when you average out our months where we had boondocking and then the months that we had, more traditional campgrounds, it was about $827 a month. Is if you average it all out. Some months were as low as like $300 because we were boondocking and we went into a campground a few times here and there. And other months we were stuck at like my injury, I think it was like $1,100 that month. So, it's one of those where it's going to be different for you. But this at least gives you an idea of what is possible when you go with different types of campgrounds. So there you go. So real quick, before we go any further, we wanted to let you know that we just launched an online course and it's all about how to go full-time in an RV.
Yeah, so if you are thinking about this lifestyle, if you just started, if you're spending tons of hours on YouTube like all of us did whenever we first started, and you're going from video to video trying to figure out everything about the money and how to plan your trips and how to get your mail, all those kinds of things, we answer every single one of those questions, everything in an orderly fashion. It's kind of like a curriculum, so just step by step.
Yep.
From people that have been there and done that, and we knew nothing. Yeah,
when
so
we started.
No question is too dumb, because we had tons of dumb questions, and we really created with this course the exact information in the way that we would have wanted it presented to us before we started to make these decisions.
Yeah. And you get access into our private full-time, going full-time community. So it's a private Facebook group where you can come and feel comfortable to answer any question you might have along the way. No judgment. No question is a dumb question. And we do monthly lives to answer your specific questions. We just did our one the other night and it was awesome. So it's a great way to just get your questions answered, because you're going to have so many as you're planning for full-time RV life. So we'll put the information below and on the screen, and check it out. We have a little bit of a special deal still going, depending on when you're watching this. So be sure to go and check it out, because it's a good time to get in. Okay, so the next one I thought was kind of interesting. It's repairs and maintenance. Now, this one is hard to track because obviously if I hire a mobile tech, I have that. That's an easy one. But I also tried to go back and look at what we were buying, like on Amazon, if it was for a repair, if it was for a filter for maintenance, that kind of thing. So in 2023, for the whole year, we spent about $5,300. We had some we had some stuff break that we had to pay for, new awning arms.
Mm.
You know, so we had some stuff that most of it we caused. And but we didn't have as much in 2024. So 5,323, we only had 3,324. So we actually went down. The only thing is I can say we did buy a generator. So if you add that, if you want to add that, I don't know, that's more of a product. It's not really a maintenance kind of thing. So, but yeah, so we actually just went down. Now, it may be that we started fixing more stuff ourselves. We got, you know, as you RV, you start learning things more. And we got the NRVTA online course. So we felt a little bit more equipped to like, okay, that broke. Let's see if they address that in the course. I think basically Barry was able to fix more on our own. And then we didn't spend as much on mobile tech. So
yeah, and just so you know, we're a big proponent of mobile techs. I mean, we try not to use them if we don't have to, because it's, you know, it's going to cost for them to even show up. It's going to be about $250. But as full-time RVers, we've never been to a dealer. We've never dropped off our RV at a dealership.
Mainly because they will never guarantee how long they're going to keep it. And
yeah,
when it's your full-time house, you can't take that risk.
Exactly. You know, we heard some stories from some guy said, yeah, I dropped my rig off at a dealership and I've been in an Airbnb for 2 months. And that's just, that's not going to happen. That is a non-starter. So, you know, we've been very satisfied with mobile techs. We've never had a situation that was bad, other than the price tag can be pretty steep, but they come, they fix your stuff, you're back on the road. Yeah. It's all good.
Yeah. So that's a snapshot into repairs and maintenance. Obviously, it's going to totally depend on your rig, how old it is, if you ever under warranty still, you know, all that stuff. So keep that in mind. Okay. This is the big one. All right. Food expenses. All right. So in my 2023 video, this was the most commented controversial part of this entire breakdown.
So we eat too much?
We eat too much, and we are privileged, and we are, God, go back and read the comments. They're awesome. Really. You guys got to laugh after a while. But what I failed to do in the first video, so once you post a YouTube video, you can't edit it, just so you know. So it is what it is. But I failed to give you the information of this wasn't just food. This was food and living. So basically I go through so we buy everything on credit cards to get the points and then pay it off. That's how we do things. And I know exactly what kind of store it is that we made the purchase. So if it's Walmart, I know the total. If it's Target, I know the total. Grocery store, yeah. I can't differentiate what products at that Walmart, say it's a $200 bill. A lot of it's food, not all of it.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's living. It's anything that we would have bought, food or living wise, things for the house. You know, a coffee maker broke. It's going to be on the same bill because I can't break it down. I'm not willing to break my bills down every single month and week for you guys to know what's what. But at least gives you, I mean, if we're going to have that, other people are going to have that. You know, it's that kind of thing. So it's food, it's living, it's alcohol, dog food, anything like that. So I'm kind of changing this category from food to food and living expenses. So in 2023, our total number of food and living was like almost 19 grand. Now, I'll even admit we eat a lot of specialty food. I love to cook. I wanted to be a chef at one point. So I'm not eating a box of macaroni and cheese. It's not basics. You know, I get pretty inventive. So we probably spend way more on food than the average person. So, but we went from about 1,900 to about 1,500 in 2024 because we did cut back on a lot of stuff because the budget just changed. So our lowest month was like 1,000. Our highest month was 1,500. And I tried to take out our vacation expenses. So like our kids, you know, came and visited us and we met them in New Orleans and we ate out, you know, all that stuff. We're on vacation. We're living very differently than just the two of us on the road. I tried to cut that out so you could get a more realistic idea of normal living.
Yeah, the day to day.
Yeah, right. So that's probably an adjustment as well. So again, could be high for some people, could be other people were like, that's the most realistic, number I've seen in YouTube videos. Because let's face it, a lot of people don't want to talk about their personal numbers. It makes them uncomfortable, and it does make me uncomfortable. However, it has been so helpful to a lot of you that I'm willing to go there and take the heat from the public if it helps you get a realistic, idea of what things might cost. Because, so for example, if you're in California, everything costs more. So you may need to take that into consideration. We love it there, so we're willing to budget that and work that out. If you're in the high mountains and all you have are resort little mountain towns, that $9 thing of coffee that you love at Starbucks coffee is going to be 2-3 times that much, because you're paying for convenience of getting it in the small town, not have to drive down the mountain. Eating out. This one changed the most.
Yeah, unfortunately. I love to eat out.
I know. Yeah. I mean, we were always trying the local food, going to the breweries. That was a big part of our entertainment, even in 2023. And that number is reflective of it. We spent over $9,000 eating out in 2023. In 2024, less than half of that, 4,700. So it's one of those things that we had to cut that with the job loss that just kind of had to go away for a while. We look forward to the day when that gets to come back a little bit. But you can tell it just really depends on how much you eat out. If you're not a big person who cooks, you probably are going to have a high eating out budget. In certain parts of the country, it's more expensive than others.
Yeah, and it's gotten a lot more expensive.
Oh yeah.
I mean, you just, everywhere you go, it's like you can't get a burger and fries, it seems, anymore for less than like $17
Yeah,
a
it's
plate.
crazy. Yeah, so that is definitely something you'll have to watch. That spending gets out of control really quickly. So the next one is about fuel. So propane and gasoline, or for us, diesel. So I did break it up separately just so you can get an idea of how much propane you might spend. Now, remember, we're a big toy hauler. We have two 30-pound tanks that are attached to the RV. And then we also have two 20-pound tanks that we use on the grill and other places around the RV. So ours might be a little higher. I don't know. In 2023, it was $56 a month. Really not a lot changed in 2024, $66 a month. So we had months where we had $0 spent on propane, and we had months where it was really cold. We were boondocking, and we were running our propane a lot. It was like $140 for that month. So it's obviously dependent on where you are, the temperatures, what you're fueling with it, and that kind of thing.
Yeah, and I've also I used to have a stance that I only wanted to run our generator on propane. I've kind of backed off of that a little bit, mainly because I'm able to find non-ethanol gas to put into our generator. So we have two generators. We talked about this before. I have a larger portable generator, the Cummins, and then I have the smaller kind of backup generator that we had. It's a little older, and they're both dual fuel, so you can run them on both propane and regular gas. But I'm a huge preacher about not putting ethanol gas into your generators. So using the Pure Gas app, which unfortunately I think is no longer available in the App Store, but you can go
There's
on these
other versions of it. I think you can.
you can go online and you can find out where you can get pure gas for your generator, meaning no ethanol in it. And I feel okay with leaving that in the generator. Yeah. So I've been buying a lot more of that instead of propane, because the thing is, downside about using propane in your generator is if you need the propane for other stuff, you're going to burn through it more quickly, and it's more challenging to find some place that sells propane than it is to find some place that sells pure gas.
That's true. So the next one is fuel. And this is obviously dependent on a lot of things: how fast you move around, if you're stationary for very long, what kind of vehicle you have. I actually watched a lot of other channels' budgets, and their fuel costs were way more than ours. So I don't know if it's just we have a newer vehicle, it's more efficient, but we normally stay at places at least 2 weeks. Except there was a stint this year where we moved a lot going across country, and so obviously the fuel went up on that. So let's see, in 2023 we spent about $8,300 total. Our lowest month is like 400 and something.
In 2025, our lowest month was like 300. Our highest was 900. And our total spending, so our average is 515 a month. If you do the whole average of the year, the total is almost $2,000 less than the year before. Now I think so. It's 6175 for the year. Now I think that has to do with gas prices were really high when we were in. I remember we were in California and Oregon in the summer, and we were spending so much on gas there. Yeah. So that was the year we were there, was 23. So that's probably why that was higher. It's just a little bit lower now. And we had several stints where we stayed still. We had 2 months in Colorado where we didn't move around a lot. So it probably lowered our numbers in 24 because of that. Okay, this next section is insurance. And this is totally dependent on where your domicile state is. So we are domiciled in Florida because that's where we lived before. And it was easy just to keep everything there. Florida is expensive. So there's definitely certain states that are more expensive than others. We didn't have much of a change, to be honest, between the 2 years. Our registrations did go up, and I'll tell you that in a second. But for our RV, we pay about $1,700 a year, and our truck is about $2,600. So that's about $363 a month for, that coverage. So registrations is what changed. So in 2023, our registrations were $138 and they went to $275. So for whatever reason, the registrations went up. So that's the only real change in that area. We had a lot of people, and you can chime in as well in the comments about how different it is in different states. I was amazed at some states were like very little to insure their RVs, and others were like, oh, mine is twice yours, kind of thing. So it's really interesting. So if that's something you would like to share, I think people find it really interesting and how much it is to register and have your vehicle and RV insured in different places. So you might want to share your experience.
Yeah, because our concern is that with our domicile being in Florida, as far as their insurance company is concerned, they think we live in Florida. So that means, it takes those things into consideration when it comes to our truck. We're also paying for our daughter's car insurance.
I didn't even give y'all any of that.
And so there's that. So we're really thinking about maybe changing our domicile address to, was it
South Dakota
or Texas?
Texas seems to be just as expensive.
Yeah.
To be honest. So right now I am not doing anything, but it's something I'm considering. There's pros and cons. South Dakota has some other issues going on with the voting that we want to make sure that we're not. Because
if you change your domicile address, that means that you're pretty much live there. Mm-hmm. Means that your driver's license is going to have to be a South Dakota driver's license. It's going to, all this other stuff. So we're kind of counting the cost is really worth it for that.
Yeah. But that is something to research. I mean, when I get to mail, I'm going to tell you about the service that we use, and that's where we get our domicile. So stay tuned on that. But that makes a big difference. So. Okay, next one is simple. It's laundry. Okay, some of you guys don't boondock. You have your own washer and dryer. This isn't even a concern for you. We boondock a lot. So what we found shortly after we got on the road, and I had to have my washer and dryer combo vented, installed, and the hole drills in for the venting and all that, about 4 or 5 months in, I decided I hated it. So it felt like we were always doing laundry. That washer and dryer was always going. It took forever.
It was a combo unit. It's the one that has both the washer and dryer, the same thing. So it washes it, and then it dries it in the same view.
It was just taking forever to do laundry, and I was just over it. I felt like it was just always running. So we got rid of it. I got my closet space back, which made me happy. And I just go to a laundromat and knock it out sometimes every week, sometimes every other week. It takes me an hour and 15 minutes or so. It's not that big a deal for us. So that's how we do it. So we do have a laundry expense in 2024. It was like $350 or $390 for the whole year. It was a little higher than the year before. It's because I think we got rid of it midway through that year. And, it's really crazy. Sometimes we'll get a washer that's $1, $1.50. And then you'll go to some other place and they want $350. So it's really all over the place depending on where you go. So it fluctuates a bit. So for us, it's worth it. For you, you may just keep your washer dryer and be happy that way. But we can't use it when we boondock. So I just felt like after a while, it was just not worth having at all. So we got rid of it. Okay, internet. So because our job, Barry's job and mine as running the channel is so dependent on internet connection, is very important. So we're not retired. We're not a sometime get on the internet kind of thing.
I don't know that we've ever used the our campground internet.
No, we never have. We do not rely on it. We don't even, because you're just going to get frustrated with it because it's usually, it throttles, depending on where you're at. Now, if you're only getting on every once in a while, it's probably totally fine for you to use the campground internets. But we're out in the middle of nowhere, boondocking, and we have to work. So we had to have, from day one, we budgeted exactly what we needed to have basically 3 levels of internet backup, because if he can't report to work, he could lose his job. So that is very important. We never want to risk that. So we have Starlink. That's our number one. And we have a T-Mobile home tower. For now, it still works.
Yeah, if you recall back about a year ago, T-Mobile was saying, hey, we're going to raise the price on that family plan from $50 a month, which was the best deal ever, to, let's see, $160 a month. And the whole RV world went,
we're out.
you do that, then we're going to cancel our service. And so it seems like that hasn't come along yet. I hope it doesn't.
Done it yet. Yeah, I think enough people freaked out because they actually came to RV shows and sold this unit to RVers. And now they're coming back and saying, oh, no, you can't move it around. So it was just a money grab for them. And they did. So far, they haven't done it. So we have Starlink, T-Mobile, and we have another little backup hotspot just in case. We don't use it very often. I've thought about dropping it, but we have used it here and there when, we had an issue with the Starlink. And we had to get a new one time. So we needed it then. But our total spending is about $215 a month for all of our internet stuff. And I'm not counting cell plans and cell phones. You guys know your numbers. It's the same as in your sticks and bricks. So it depends on what you guys have for that. So it's about $2,500-ish a year. That's what we spend. Again, you may not need 3 levels. You just go with Starlink. I don't know what the price is now. We are grandfathered in early. So ours is a little less. I want to say it's in the 155 area now, maybe 160. Not totally sure. And they have the different dish options now. So you'll just have to do your research if that's what you want to do.
Yeah. And if you can get on the family plan with T-Mobile, I don't know. It's hard to recommend it anymore because you don't know if it's still going to be available. But we can say that we've been quite impressed with it. Now, granted, we go out in some very remote areas and we would be shocked if it worked. But by and large, if you're somewhat close to just a town, it doesn't have to be a major area. You need to be within proximity of a T-Mobile tower, which they've got great coverage. We've been shocked at how much it has worked. Mm-hmm. And the internet itself is, it's about the same as Starlink as far as speed wise.
Yeah. So it's a really good option if you're willing to roll that dice. If they take it away, then you're going to be without something. So do your research on that. Entertainment. This one totally changed. And I'll have to show you maybe on the budget spreadsheet. It goes from, so I lost my job in February. So it goes January, February. We were doing all kinds of stuff because we were in Vegas and then we were traveling to Florida for a vacation. And then it goes to zero. And we literally nixed all of our entertainment money because of the job loss. And that was just a precautionary thing. So we went from, $4,200 in 2023 to $690 in 2024. So there you go. You can, but we did a lot of stuff in nature instead. We just did hiking and fishing and, most of that $600 and something in 2024 were his fishing licenses.
Yeah. You got to have a license.
Yeah. So, obviously that number is going to be dependent on if you want to be doing tours and renting ATVs and things like that, that number is going to be up. But you have the ability to also take it down, which saved us a lot of money. So, mail. Okay. So we get this a lot. A lot of people want to know how we get our mail on the road. We do have expense for this because we use a service. We chose absolutely not to have any of our family deal with our mail for us. You don't want your family opening up your personal bills and tax stuff, and it's just not good, kind of thing. So we choose to be members of escapees, and escapees gives us our domicile address. And then they also have, it's a club, it's a membership. You get a lot of benefits out of it. And I'll put all the information for you to check it out if you're interested. But I think it's about $130 for the year. But we also use their mail service. And I think the mail service is like $25 or $30 a month. And what that means is they collect our mail for us, and they scan the outside of the envelope. And then they ask me, do you want this sent to you? Do you want us to get rid of it? Destroy it? Is it junk? Or we pay a little extra for scanning. So if I say, hey, yeah, that's a medical bill, I need you to scan that, 50 cents a page, I think. They scan it and then they send it to me. And then honestly, I don't even need it at that point. I have the PDF. So that's what we choose to do. That brings it, our expense for the year on that was like $559 or about 40 something dollars a month. And it's totally worth it for me to be able to get my mail right away, see what's in that envelope. It was great during tax season. So, I had everything I needed right away, could send it to the accountant to be accounted for. So what I do is every few months, I'll say, hey, here's where we are. Please gather up our mail and go ahead and send it to me. And that way, if I do physically need that piece of mail for some odd reason, I can get it in my hands. But that does cost a little extra. So that's included. So throughout the year, sometimes we have things shipped to like a local shipping store or a UPS store, and we may have to pay $5 to receive that box. So that includes some of that too. So juggling getting Amazon shipments, and when someone wants to send something to you, you do have to kind of utilize some services that may cost a little bit. So getting towards the end here, memberships. So this can be very different for different people. So I am giving you our essential memberships. I'm not going to give you all of our streaming services, and because you might have ESPN and I might have the Discovery Channel, and that's totally different numbers. So I'm not going to do that. You'll have to kind of do that part on your own. These are related to RVing memberships. So Harvest Host, we spend about $99 a year. Now we don't have the Boondockers Welcome anymore. We dropped that. And then I bought, they had some sort of deal. So I think it's a little more than that now, but totally worth it. We love Harvest Host. We love the option of being able to stay at breweries and wineries and really interesting places when we just need a one night stop. But they just started doing multiple nights at the Harvest Host. So you can sometimes do up to 4 nights at a Harvest Host. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. And so, it's debatable because, the Harvest Host is not really a great way to save money, quote unquote, because
you're still spending about $30 when you stay there.
That's your agreement with them. That, these breweries aren't just doing this out of the goodness of their heart. They want you to come and stay on their property. So you're going to come in and buy drinks. And if they serve food, you're going to serve, buy food. But,
it's an experience.
But it is an experience. Yeah. And a lot of people think in terms of like, boondocking, that means Harvest Host, right? Not really. Yeah.
It's
Yes.
just a dry camping situation out of business, kind of thing. So I don't know.
Exactly. So you got to think, if you're thinking about Harvest Host, yes, there is the yearly fee, and you're going to spend at least $30 every time you go to one.
Or some sort of donation, and you can see it in the listing. It tells you.
But the benefit of it is that when you have these travel days, like in this situation where, because we don't like to drive usually more than about 3.5 hours per day. And if we're not in a total time crunch and we could just, drive 3.5 hours and stop somewhere, we don't want it to be a Walmart parking lot. We don't want it to be a Bass Pro parking lot. We would prefer it be a place where
maybe we can have a little bite to eat and a drink after being on the road all day, or pet some llamas, or whatever.
I have yet to pet a llama.
I know,
so
we got to make that happen.
I feel a little ripped off at this point.
Yeah, so Harvest Host is something I will always do because I think it's a cool part of RV travel. The All Trails app, we hike a lot, so that's $35.99 a year.
If you want to go out on a trail and not get lost, you might want to pay for the membership.
Yeah, membership, so you can download the map. The National Parks Pass, we get it every year. It's $80, so well spent.
Gotta have it.
Yeah, so you pay one price and you can go to all the national parks throughout the entire year. So totally will do that every year. Now, we still have AAA, and I really have it because I still get it for my kids. So I just kind of have kept it for the truck, but that's $77. You may not need that if you have other kind of roadside assistance. The Elks, totally worth it for us. In fact, this 2025, I think we'll be using it a lot more because we really started to kind of embrace the cheaper camping and the experiences. And the Elks are easy to stay at. They have, they're really nice folks. They do good things in their community. It's sometimes free. Sometimes it's, like the Santa Barbara Elks was like $40.
Saved us a ton of money.
Santa Barbara is very expensive. So
that's probably the best benefit with the Elks from our perspective is it's allowed us to stay in places that are typically there's nothing available at a private campground, or the private campgrounds are obscenely expensive, like San Diego or Santa Barbara. To be able to go to the Elks and stay for $30.
Yeah.
I mean,
and sometimes they have hookups, not usually full hookups. Like the last two we've stayed at had water and electric, and then they had a dump station. So it worked out great.
Yeah, totally. Because I just think it's, if you have the opportunity to join an Elks. In fact, we just hung out with a nice couple last night, and they were saying, we went and kind of toured the Elks and took a look at it, and we were like saying, look, they're RVers. Just join.
Yeah,
just do it. Yeah, you get the opportunity to make it happen.
We're going to stay at another Elks when we leave here on our way to our final destination. So it's become a go-to for us. It's really great. Amazon Prime. I don't know how you function without Amazon. Like even being full-time on the road, between the Amazon drop boxes, you can have it shipped to your campgrounds most of the time. You can ship into UPS and FedEx stores sometimes. Heck, even Walgreens, you can sometimes have it shipped there. So, you can still utilize things like Amazon Prime, and it really does save us a lot of money. And in fact, if you haven't gone to our Amazon store on our website, liketheirsnotomorrow.net, we have all of our favorite RV products and, things that we use and love, from essentials to outdoor stuff to pet stuff if you're looking at the RV life, you might take a look at that, because we've had some good things we've bought and we've had some bad things we bought. So we constantly, if we decide we don't support something anymore, we don't think it's great, we take it off and put the new one on. So we try to keep that up to date. So might be something you're interested in. RV Life. Y'all, the RV Life app, I could not RV without this thing. It is basically, it's, someone asked this recently in our course group of new RVers is, what's the difference? The RV Life app, RV Trip Wizard, RV Pro, it's all the same thing. Basically it's a membership that gives you a bunch of stuff. Trip planning is the number one thing that I love about it. Honestly, it's the thing I use the most. There is a GPS, there's a maintenance tracker, some awesome little discount stuff that you get in membership, but really it is how I plan all of our travel and track it, and track how much I'm spending, and track how many miles I'm going. It's full of all the campgrounds, different reviews, so you can kind of dive deep, and instead of doing a Google search every time you want to stay somewhere, you can see it in one place, narrow down where you want to stay, look at those reviews, even down to like spot 11 was the best for a big rig. That is just glorious to me. So, just things like that. So it is something we renew every single year because we use it a ton. And I'll put the information below. In fact, they have a 7-day free trial. If it's something you just want to take a look at and see what's in there, that'd be a good way to do it.
And on our course, don't you go
Yeah,
use it?
yeah. So in our going full-time course, I take a lot of time to show you how I trip plan. I get that question a lot. It's how do you know where to go? Like, how do you plan, places that you want to be at? So I go into way more detail in that in the course because that is something that I didn't know either. And it helps kind of because it's nerve-wracking when you first start looking at a map and going, okay, where are we going to go? It's so there's a logical way to plan your trips, and I really dive deep into that in the course. All right, the last one is escapees. I talked about it before. We spend, about it's like $130 or so, but that is a membership that we always renew every year. Those are essentials. So I think in all we spend about $870 a year on these memberships. So those are the essentials. We have other stuff that we pay for. In fact, in general, this is just our RVing expenses. We have, people always they ask us, how much do you pay for your truck? How much do you pay for your RV? Look, I'm not going to give you those kind of numbers. That's our business. You know your numbers. This is just to help you figure out your numbers. Same thing with our income. That's dependent on
private.
you.
I mean, because the bottom line is that those things are so variable.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're going to go out and buy a truck, and you're going to know what the payment is, right? If you're going to go buy an RV and work a deal with an RV dealership or buy it from an individual, you're going to work your deal, okay? And it's all dependent on your budget. And so just go with that.
Yeah.
But as far as just like the day-to-day, we're hoping that you're going to be able to see, okay, what is the day-to-day with the campground expense and then maybe the groceries and the fuel costs and propane, all those kinds of things. We don't want you to be able to at least extrapolate, okay, maybe I can somewhat relate that to how we might travel and what this is going to cost.
So this is basically why we do this every year and why we take the heat from it every year. It's really to help you. And I think if there's anything between the 2023 video and this new one is life happens. Jobs change or get lost and accidents happen. We know the accident created a different financial situation for us as well. But you have the ability to change the way you live when you RV. You can change the places you stay, you can change your spending, and that is a pretty awesome thing. So if you're fearful of the unknowns of being in full-time RV life, don't.
So if you're considering this lifestyle, or if you're just getting started and the money is a real concern for you, just be encouraged that you can do this, you can make this lifestyle happen, and you don't have to stay at expensive resorts and all that kind of stuff to be able to do it. And don't be afraid, just make it happen. Go do it.
It's an amazing life for a lot of people, and we encourage you to come on the road, join us in this completely fun and exciting adventure in full-time RV life. We'll see you next time, guys.